Welcome back to my channel Knowledge Chronicle.
Have you ever wondered how a single cell in your body can go rogue and become deadly? What exactly is cancer? Why does it spread so fast? And most importantly, how do we detect it, treat it, or even prevent it? Today, on Knowledge Chronicle, we dive deep into one of the most feared words in medicine, cancer, and uncover every angle of this silent killer step by step with examples and real science. Stay tuned, because this knowledge might just save a life. What is cancer? Cancer isn't just one disease. It's a group of more than 100 diseases where the body's cells grow out of control. Normally, our body's cells grow, divide, and die in an orderly fashion. This process is controlled by a variety of internal mechanisms. For example, old or damaged cells die through a natural process called apoptosis and are replaced by new ones. But in cancer, this control breaks down. A cancerous cell ignores the body's signals. It keeps dividing uncontrollably. This leads to the formation of a tumor, a mass of abnormal cells. Not all tumors are dangerous, though. There are two main types: benign tumors. These are like guests who overstay their welcome but don't cause much harm. They remain in one place and generally don't spread. Malignant tumors. These are the real villains. They invade nearby tissues and organs. Worse, they can spread to distant parts of the body through blood or lymph. This deadly spread is called metastasis, and it's what makes cancer life-threatening. Contact inhibition. You know, one of the earliest signs that a cell is turning cancerous is when it loses something called contact inhibition. In normal cells, when they touch their neighboring cells, they just stop growing. It's kind of like being in a crowd where, well, everyone respects each other's personal space. But cancer cells lose this sense completely. They just keep multiplying, even when they're packed in tightly, and this leads to the unchecked growth of tumors. Causes of cancer. So what actually makes a healthy cell turn into, well, a killer? The causes of cancer are called carcinogens. These can be physical agents, like radiation. Ionizing radiation from X-rays or gamma rays can directly damage DNA. For example, people who are exposed to high radiation during nuclear disasters have increased risks of getting cancer. So, let's talk about chemical agents, like those found in cigarette smoke. Chemicals such as benzopyrene can actually damage lung tissues, and honestly, they're some of the leading causes of lung cancer. Just to give you an idea, long-term smokers are about 15 to 30 times more likely to develop lung cancer. Now, moving on to biological agents, specifically, certain viruses known as oncogenic viruses. For example, the human papillomavirus, or HPV, is linked to cervical cancer, while the hepatitis B virus is linked to liver cancer. Inside our own bodies, we have these things called proto-oncogenes. They're basically genes that help our cells grow. But if these genes get mutated or somehow activated in the wrong way, they turn into oncogenes, which can actually change normal cells into cancerous ones. How cancer spreads: metastasis. Cancer's deadliest weapon is honestly metastasis. Imagine tumor cells as rebel soldiers. They break off from the main tumor, enter the bloodstream or lymphatic system, travel to distant organs like lungs, liver, or brain, and start new tumors there. This is why, early detection is so important. Once cancer spreads, treatment becomes far more difficult. How we detect cancer. The sooner we catch cancer, the better the chances of survival. A biopsy, a small piece of the suspicious tissue, is taken, sliced thin, stained, and examined under a microscope by a pathologist. This helps confirm if it's cancer. So let's talk about imaging techniques. X-rays are mainly used for bone tumors, and they're pretty common. Then there's the CT scan, or computed tomography, which gives us three-dimensional images of internal organs using X-rays. It's quite detailed and super helpful for doctors. Now, MRI, or magnetic resonance imaging, is a bit different. It uses magnetic fields instead of radiation, and it's really excellent for looking at soft tissues like brain or spinal tumors. This makes it a go-to option for those cases. Moving on, blood and bone marrow tests are crucial, especially for cancers like leukemia. In these cases, abnormal blood cell counts can be one of the earliest indicators, so these tests play a major role in early detection. Molecular tests, are changing the way we detect cancer. Scientists can now identify cancer-specific genes in people. For instance, the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes are linked to breast and ovarian cancer. If someone carries these genes, they're usually advised to take precautions. When it comes to treatment options, fighting cancer is honestly a multi-front battle. The treatment really depends on the cancer type, its stage, and where it's located in the body. Surgery is often used to physically remove tumors, especially if they haven't spread. It's one of the main ways doctors try to get rid of cancer from the body. Radiation therapy, uses high-energy rays that are aimed right at tumors to kill cancer cells, while sparing normal tissues as much as possible. Chemotherapy, on the other hand, uses powerful drugs that kill rapidly dividing cells. But, because it also affects healthy, fast-growing cells like hair or blood, side effects like hair loss, fatigue, and nausea can happen. Immunotherapy is all about boosting the patient's own immune system so it can recognize and destroy cancer cells. For example, substances like alpha interferon act as biological response modifiers, basically waking up the immune system. So, cancer is not always preventable, but, we can definitely reduce our risks by being more aware and making some smart choices. First, avoid tobacco. It's linked to multiple cancers, including mouth, lung, and throat. Then, focus on a healthy diet and regular exercise, because honestly, obesity increases cancer risk. Also, vaccination matters. For example, the HPV vaccine can actually prevent cervical cancer. And don't forget about regular screenings, especially if there's a family history of cancer. Mammograms, colonoscopies, and pap smears really help catch cancer early. Scientists around the world are, right now, studying targeted therapies, gene-editing cancer vaccines, and even nanotechnology to destroy cancer cells precisely, with fewer side effects. It's pretty exciting to think about the hope these breakthroughs could bring. There's also growing research into personalized medicine treatments tailored specifically to an individual's genetic makeup. So to sum up, cancer is a complex and deadly disease, but with science, early detection, and modern treatment, it can often be managed and even cured. Stay informed, stay aware, because knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Your one like, share, and subscribe will help us create more valuable content.